can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So, a good performance from both teams.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right, on the show today, Sri Lankan cricketers say they are scared of continuing the away series in Pakistan after a suicide bombing rocks Islamabad. The two boards, though, insist the tour carry on with no changes. How long a rope is PCB boss and Pakistan cricket being given here? That even the horrors of 2009 aren't getting them to act. The 2026 World Cup could usher in a new era of inclusivity, but FIFA's fresh money minting schemes may just disprove that and the very foundation of the beautiful game. What's the next big pricing shocker? And a cheeky burger joint in Australia may get in trouble for jinxing star F1 driver Oscar Piastri. How a seemingly cool marketing gimmick has gone horribly wrong for the F1 driver ever since. But first, the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with tennis and the year-ending ATP Finals, world number 1 Jannik Sinner has reached the semi-finals of the event. He beat Alexander Zverev in straight sets. The Italian will face Ben Shelton in a group stage match. In cricket, former Australia player Shane Watson has been named IPL side Kolkata's assistant coach. He's the latest to be added to the revamped support staff. The World Cup winner will work alongside head coach Abhishek Nair. Watson is a two-time IPL winner with Chennai and Rajasthan. India captain Suryakumar Yadav and batter Shivam Dube have been granted permission to skip Mumbai's Ranji Trophy match that's starting on the 15th of November against Puducherry. Both the players want to focus on the T20 series coming up against South Africa. This comes after India's cricket board instructed players to be available for domestic matches when not on national duty. On to football. Euros 2028 venues have been announced. The tournament will begin in Wales' capital Cardiff on the 9th of June, with the finale set to take place in London's Wembley Stadium on the 9th of July. The 2028 edition will be co-hosted by England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. With 51 matches across 9 venues in 8 cities, defending champion Spain along with 23 other nations will eye for the trophy. And summing it up with badminton, star India shuttler Lakshya Sen has entered the quarterfinals of Japan Masters. The 7th seed beat Jason Tay in straight games inside of 39 minutes. Meanwhile, his compatriot HS Pranoy went down 18-21, 15-21 in round 2 itself, bringing his journey to an end. Sri Lanka is touring Pakistan for a bilateral, and Zimbabwe is set to join them next week for a T20 tri-series. Now, the series between Pakistan and Sri Lanka is just one match old, but tensions are on the rise. And that's because of what's happened in Islamabad just a couple of days ago. It's the aftermath of one of the worst suicide bombings in Pakistan. Sri Lankan authorities are in communication with their Pakistan counterparts, the cricket board, and of course, the Interior Minister of Pakistan, Mohsin Naqvi. But here's the thing, the series will go on despite the players expressing their fear and a desire to return home. A fact that should be most disconcerting for any of us. Let me break down the sequence of events leading up to this first. On Tuesday, the 11th of November, an attack in the middle of the day killed 12 people. It occurred right outside district court buildings, so a heavily crowded area. Now, the cricket teams themselves, though, are not in Islamabad. They are in Rawalpindi. That's just 17 kilometers away, though. But this is not about proximity alone, and nor is it about this one instance. The matter is trauma of the Sri Lankan cricket squad being subjected to a horrific attack that rocked the cricket world back in 2009, a nightmare ordeal that brought cricket to a standstill in Pakistan. Marked gunmen attacked the team in Lahore. 6 members of the team's security detail and 2 civilians were killed in the process. I'll of course not forget those visuals. It is seared in my brain. So too many others, including those who were right there. So imagine Sri Lanka. Though of course the personnel, the players, they've all changed hands, it still involves their country. So when this then current set of Sri Lankan players appealed and reached out to their board to get them back home and forget the series, ditch it midway, you can understand where that fear comes from, where this plea comes from. But here is what happened instead. On Wednesday, a day after the suicide bombing, there was a meeting between Pakistan's Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi, who also is of course PCB chairman, like I've said, and the Sri Lankan High Commission. Key officials of both the cricketing teams were also present. Assurances were given to Sri Lanka that this was just a one-off, that nothing will affect the bilateral or the tri-series that Sri Lankan players have to stay on for. Naqvi also inspected the stadium right after, so Pakistan clearly is trying to do all they can to make sure nothing further untoward happens. But has it not already? Sri Lankan cricketers made themselves clear they do not want to play in fear. Yet the latest is this. The SLC, Sri Lankan Cricket Association, has instructed their team to stay put and honour their commitments. Now, I understand this series is important for both countries. Let's look at Pakistan first. I don't quite remember the last time this bunch celebrated something iconic. Sure, there was that test series against England. It was a monumental victory, but that has been just one silver lining. In years of losses, captaincy and coach changes, multiple sackings, and a cricketing system that's simply been in chaos. So every moment here on, of course, is critical, if not for their own team and form, for the optics. Look at Pakistan as a cricket host. They finally got the opportunity to co-host the ICC Champions Trophy, an ICC event, a tournament that was marred by infrastructural issues, delayed stadium handovers, poor fan turnout, and of course the home team knocking themselves out without a single win. So making sure this series here, however small, goes on without any sense of turbulence is crucial. No wonder Mohsin Naqvi, whose Twitter feed is as infamous as his own actions over the last few months, in gusto said this. You can use the big, heavy words, Mr. Naqvi, sportsmanship, solidarity, trying to show what a great gesture Sri Lanka has made. But all this does is set a precedence, and a bad one at that, one that has very little to learn from. Because Sri Lanka also is a country in transition, yet another Asian country that is trying to reignite a passion they lost somewhere along the way. A country that once produced sheer brilliance, but also fell off the wagon and is desperately hoping to rebuild and work their way up again with a sense of renewed vigor under someone like Sanat Jayasuriya. So every match, every series is critical for them to build on some momentum and keep their cricketing ambitions afloat. But this is what I ask. How many blips and mishaps will we as spectators and observers on the sidelines continue to watch and proceed to unsee? Because that's what taking no action means. It means unseeing all that's going on. Terror continues to strike regularly. It's not a one-off. How lengthy a rope does Pakistan as a cricketing country truly deserve? Think about it. Here's a country where their own cricketer's home was attacked by gunmen, forcing the pacer Naseem Shah here to stay with the Pakistan squad and not at his own home in his own country. This happened just a couple of days ago. So while we understand the need for second chances and the need to help cricketing countries in the fold only grow by supporting each other, there can, however, be no substitute for a lack of accountability. All these instances only make us continue to question Pakistan's credibility as a cricketing nation, a cricketing system, and a cricketing host. The World Cup is the biggest celebration of football. The one event meant to unite fans across the world, but this time FIFA's grand showpiece has turned into a money-minting circus. The 2026 World Cup is already making headlines for all the wrong reasons. And right at the center of the storm is FIFA's insane ticket prices. What was once called the people's game has officially been priced out of reach for, well, you the people. Ever since the US got co-hosting rights, the entire event has felt like an ego trip wrapped in corporate ambitions. US President Donald Trump wants to Americanize the tournament, decide on who gets the visas, what cities get the matches, basically stamp his name all over football's biggest tournament. But when it comes to the actual fan experience, there's nothing. And FIFA, of course, has stepped in to do what it does best, cash in on the drama. The result, a tournament already being dubbed the $60 illusion. FIFA announced that tickets would start at $60, making it sound like too good to be true, football's most inclusive event ever. But when the tickets went live, the reality struck like a red card. The so-called $60 ticket, it exists only as a tiny green dot on the digital seating map, practically invisible and sold out in seconds. Millions logged in, queued for hours, only to discover that most of those cheap tickets were swallowed up by bots and bulk buyers. And when the real prices came out, fans were left stunned. $2,000 for a nosebleed seat at the final, most upper deck tickets, priced between $2,700 and $4,000. FIFA then pulled off its classic move, dynamic pricing. Prices started climbing within a single day of launch. If that wasn't enough, FIFA's innovation this year has gone full crypto. They literally created a crypto coin called the right to buy token, where fans paid upfront without even knowing how much the ticket would eventually cost. It's the kind of gamble you expect in a casino, not in the world's biggest sporting event. And guess what? The final purchases window closes today, and fans still don't know what they're paying for. A blind deal, a hope it fits your wallet lottery that's just dressed up very pretty. And just when you think FIFA couldn't wear down your patience any thinner, they found another way. Even parking passes for group games cost more than the cheap tickets that FIFA advertised early. The quarterfinals in America, even more. Semi-finals, $175. It's as if FIFA wants to charge its fans, you, for even wanting to be a part of this. Now here's where it all becomes even more absurd. FIFA justifies this by claiming that they are adapting to the US market. But let's face it, this is a country where football means something completely different. The same country where the Club World Cup earlier this year saw empty stands, heat waves, logistical nightmares, and furious fans demanding refunds. The signs were all there, but FIFA didn't learn a thing, because what FIFA has done here isn't adaptation, it's exploitation. They know this World Cup is the most hyped ever, 48 teams, 16 cities and millions just desperate to attend. And they're just tapping into that desperation. But here's the irony. Because of this, FIFA may end up losing something far more valuable, the faith of its fans. The 2026 World Cup was meant to usher in a new era, bigger, better and more inclusive. Instead, it's doing just the opposite, because every ticket is being sold at an absurd price. Every fan turned down means chips away at what football truly stands for. It was always called the beautiful game, but when beauty becomes unaffordable, it stops being the people's game. And FIFA once again seems determined to prove that football may belong to the world, but only they get to reap the rewards. The Formula One title race is going right down to the wire, and it's spicier than ever. 3 races left, 83 points still up for grabs, and what looked like a two-man race is now officially a three-way shootout. McLaren teammates Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are locked in a duel, and right behind them, snapping at their heels, Max Verstappen. He's lurking, ready to pounce. But here's where it gets a little bizarre, because this title fight has been flipped by a burger, a real one from a real fast food chain. The burger curse is the buzzword now. So what's going on, and why is a burger from Australia haunting one of F1's brightest stars? Our next report dives in.
The 2025 F1 season has had everything: drama, dominance, and now dinner. McLaren has already sealed the Constructors' title, their first in over a decade. But the Drivers' Championship? That's been pure chaos. Oscar Piastri started the season on fire, clinical, consistent, and cruising towards the title podiums everywhere. Then came the crash, all thanks to a burger, because that's exactly when his luck completely flipped. It all started earlier this year. In March, just before the Australian Grand Prix, one of the country's biggest burger chains launched the Piastri 81 burger. The promotion? If Oscar Piastri finishes on the podium, fans get free burgers. Piastri was the one endorsing it. Fans loved it. Burgers sold out. But Piastri's fortunes? They started going downhill faster than a Red Bull on DRS. By September, the burger made a comeback, relaunched after Piastri's win in Italy. At that time, he was leading the championship. The campaign tagline? Podium equals free burgers for everyone. Except that podium never came again. For the next 5 races, Piastri's results read like a cursed menu: crash, penalty, collision, DNF, 5th. Fans began joking that the Piastri 81 wasn't just a burger, it was a jinx between 2 buns. Things got funnier and weirder in Brazil. The same burger chain updated its promo. If Piastri finishes the race, everyone gets free burgers. No podiums, no wins. Just finish the race. And guess what? Norris finished. Piastri didn't. He crashed out of the Sao Paulo sprint, and social media exploded. Tweets, memes, even Reddit threads titled "Hold the Mayo, Drop the Points." The burger company leaned into the chaos. They issued a hilarious apology to Piastri, but also slipped in a plug for their delicious, unlucky burger. Then came the merch. Limited edition t-shirts saying #SorryOscar and cursed since 81. So, from a marketing perspective, genius; from a motorsport perspective, a complete nightmare for McLaren's golden boy. Meanwhile, Lando Norris has been quietly loving this storyline. He's been on fire, podium after podium, and now leads the standings by 24 points. So, whether it's the power of sponsorship or a cursed snack from Sydney, Oscar Piastri's season has turned from a dream to drive-through drama. And as the title race heads to Vegas, you can bet that every Piastri fan will be praying he stays away from anything that comes in a wrapper. Because at this stage, the world isn't asking who's the fastest driver. It's asking one thing: who will break the burger curse first?
Time for last serve. German car manufacturers Audi are gearing up for their F1 debut next year. The company launched their first ever F1 car. The launch was attended by former champions and their starting drivers for the next edition. Can the Audi beat the likes of McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes? Well, that wraps it up here on First Sports. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, do take care. Bye-bye.